Hi,
Hello,
Hady. How are
everyone.
you?
Good afternoon.
Good
Can you hear me
afternoon.
well?
Yeah, I can hear you properly. So how are you?
I'm all good. All
That's
good.
good.
Just a quick time check. Um, how many minutes do I have?
Okay. So you can extend your presentation because we have time at the end, so we can come and sit there.
Okay. Good.
Okay. So thank you so much for
So,
being here, and we are honored to have you here. Please share your slides so that I can tell you that is it properly working or not.
yeah. So let me know when you see my screen.
Sure. Yeah, I can see it now. Can you just please make it to presentation view?
Okay. I don't know if you see one screen or two screens.
Yeah, I'm seeing two screens. One is yeah, now I can see it properly. So good luck. Stage is all yours now.
Okay, good.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. So hello, everyone. My name is Hady Gohary, and I'm the Global Procurement Category Manager for filling and packing equipment. Just to give you a quick perspective on what I do in Nestle. So together with my team, I manage the end-to-end sourcing strategy and implementation of the filling and packing category. So in today's session, I will try to give you a quick overview on Nestle Net Zero roadmap. And in Nestle, we have made the pledge in 2018. And this pledge was made by our CEO, Mark Schneider. And as you see here on the screen, we have several milestones. So if I start with the first milestone, which is one of the key important, is 2018, where in 2018 we are setting our baseline. And we use the baseline in order to benchmark our progress and how we measure and track our achievement on CO2 reduction and plastic reduction. In 2022, this is the start of our sustainability journey, and where we define our sustainability objectives. Objectives that we have and the key actions that we need to achieve in order to reach net zero. In 2025, by this year, we should reduce our emissions by 20%. And you can see all the related objectives, which will require around 3.2 million Swiss francs of investments. This includes major activities on plastic reduction, of course, one of is the plastics, and that will be all recyclable and reusable 100%. In 2030, we will reduce our emissions by 50%, where 200 million trees should be planted, and 50% of our key ingredients would be sourced through regenerative agriculture. If you look also in the 2050, this is where we need to achieve the net zero. And given the size of Nestle as well, I think to mention that majority of our reduction would be coming from ingredients. I will come to that also later. What you see here is mainly the GHG emissions, total GHG, the greenhouse gases emissions at Nestle. And in total, we have 113 million tons of CO2. And this was what was in the scope that we communicated in the UN of the 1.5 degree pledge. Emissions from our direct operations, known as Scope 1 and Scope 2, accounted for just 5% of the total emissions. The vast majority is actually coming from scope 3, which is basically from the activities in our supply chain. As a result, that is where we're going to focus our most efforts. The progress towards net zero will be measured against our 2018 baseline. We calculated this baseline and defined our footprint in partnership with a third-party consultant called South Pole. And in setting our targets, we have followed the Science-Based Target Initiatives, the SBTI criteria. And this is where they provide clearly defined pathway for coupling future-proof growth with the reduction in GHG emissions. And as our scope 3 emissions make around 95% of our footprint, we are addressing more than 80% of these reductions. Our targets also have been approved by SBT end of 2020. If you look here, as I mentioned, majority of our emissions is coming from ingredients, more than 70%. And the two main contributors here are the dairy and livestock and soil and forest supply chain. For the dairy and livestock, we aim to reduce our emissions by 40% in 2030. And note that the baseline includes company growth as well. So we are considering the business as usual growth. You can see also that the top 3 actions contributing to the emission reduction is the increasing farms productivity by training and better herd management, using regenerative agriculture and organic fertilizers, cutting methane produced by animals through nutrition changes. For the soil and forest, we aim to reduce our emissions in 2030 by 62%. And the top 3 actions here are preventing deforestation, trees plantation, and improved agriculture practices. So now let's focus on the things that might be of interest to you as well, which is part of our manufacturing our products, how we package our products, and also how we deliver and manage logistics of our products. So these 3 altogether, they represent around 28% of the total emissions of Nestle, which is around 26 million tons of CO2. If I start quickly with manufacturing, we aim to reduce manufacturing emissions by 60% by the year 2030. And the manufacturing sustainability strategy is shaped around 3 areas: reduce, rethink, and replace. So the reduce part is basically around driving the conservation of energy in our factories to reduce our existing energy demand. And one of the examples that you see on the screen is the use of heat recovery from exhaust air. The other area is rethink, which is rethinking our processes, how to utilize zero carbon technologies for making our products. And as you can see, a few examples are hybrid pressure steam, hybrid dryers, heat pumps. The third one is replacing our remaining energy requirements with renewable alternatives in a sustainable and cost-efficient way. And of course, one of the very famous examples is the use of biomass boilers. On the logistics side, Nestle aims at reducing logistic emissions by 35% by the year 2030. Road and ocean transportation initiatives are basically on the shifting to green energy. So like biofuel, biomethane, LNG on vessels, or hydrogen and electric trucks. Then there's the improve, like the shifting to intermodal and the rail solutions from port to factory and vice versa. And there's the avoid, where we use some innovative solutions like the use of foldable containers to avoid shipping empty space. So these are major efforts that we are doing in logistics. Now moving to packaging, which would be one of the most interesting topics, of course. So we have 2 parts. One part would be the CO2 reduction, and this is where we aim to reduce CO2 in packaging by 38% by the year 2030. And there's the other part, which is reducing plastics. And in reducing plastics in general, we have 5-pillar strategy. If I start with the first pillar, which is under the topic of less packaging, we are reducing packaging materials by removing unnecessary plastic lids, accessories, layers, and films. And for example, in Egypt, what we did is we have eliminated plastic bottles caps, the tear-off band on the top. And one of the very famous brands is Nestle Pure Life, as some of you might know. And also what we have done is that we have got rid of 250 tons of PVC annually. We are also eliminating things like the close to 200, or actually more than this, 2,300 meters annually by removing, if you know the Gerber baby food brand, there's an overlap or overcap lids. This is what we have removed, and it saved thousands of plastics. On the pillar 2, we have the reuse and refill. What we are doing, we are testing and scaling different models of single-use packaging free delivery and reusable and refillable solutions. For example, what we did in Canada, we established new refillable packaging pilots through our local partner, which allows people to order refills from home delivery. Once the products are consumed, containers are collected from homes or at a drop-off location, then they are being cleaned, put back into the circulation. And we have replicated this in different countries as well. In France, we are offering the service in partnership with Carrefour, for example, as a leading supermarket, where, for example, Nesquik or one of our cereal brands are now available in reusable loop containers. We are doing the same on Vittel, we are doing the same on San Pellegrino, all of these brands. So moving to the third pillar, this is basically redesign. And on the redesign, it's about having a better packaging. We are continuously working to develop novel technology and innovative packaging solutions. And for example, we are well on our way in eliminating all plastic straws from our products. And this is by using paper as an alternative material. And I believe some of you might have seen our products with the new paper straw. The innovation required Nestle to develop an entirely new supply chain. And this is to meet a key technical challenge that paper straws are bendable compared to plastic. And they are not durable enough, of course, not to mention humidity, impact on paper, and so on. So we have done a lot of several pilots launched in 2019 and continued through 2021. And this happened in key markets to reach around annual quantity of 4.5 billion paper straws, while eliminating around 1,600 tons of plastics. So that's an example on the redesign. If we go to the fourth and fifth pillar, this is under having a better system. So pillar 4 would be recycle. And greater uptake of recycling in our markets require improved waste management infrastructure and the changes in behavior as well. So for Nestle, retail partners and consumers are alike. So if I give an example, in Indonesia, Nestle became the first food company to partner with the project STOP, if you heard about the project, where we have a collaboration with cities and governments in Southeast Asia to prevent ocean plastic leakage. The project is aimed at creating sustainable, circular, and low-cost system for end-of-life materials that capture as much value as possible. It supports many existing local initiatives and waste pickers in coastal areas, and collected around 70 tons of waste and 9 tons of plastic waste per day in 2021. So moving to the fifth pillar, which is the rethink behavior. We are working with consumers, retailers, and communities to encourage and stimulate responsible behavior. And this is through partnership and new programs. Our goal is to help make recycling an easy, seamless process. So these are the main 5-pillar strategy for the plastic reduction that we have. Of course, you know that in different companies, they have like a blacklist or a ban list of some of the materials. I will not spend much time on this, but this is to show you how we are planning to phase out some of our materials. And as you can see here, we have PVC, of course, on the list, polystyrene, also the dark PET bottles that we're trying to eliminate. So these are the main things that we're taking. And of course, in order to do so, there are a lot of things happening in the background in terms of supply chain, operations, R&D as well. Having said that, with the innovation and the requirement on sustainability, end of 2018, Nestle announced the creation of the Nestle Institute of Packaging Sciences. This center is located in Lausanne. It has around 50 employees, and it has a state-of-the-art laboratory and facilities. And what they do, they interact with other R&D centers. You know, we have R&D centers for beverage, for confectionery, for every type of business we have R&D center, and also collaborating with engineering, operations, and even procurement on making sure that we have the right efforts in order to have proper packaging material in terms of functionality, safety, and impact on the environment. So these are all the efforts that we are doing with this new institute. Just to end my presentation with an example. If you know Smarties, it's one of our global brands. In the UK, the Smarties sharing block was launched in a recyclable paper wrapper in June 2020. Now other products in the same range have followed the same pursuit, and Smarties is the first global confectionery brand to switch to paper packaging. The move will help in achieving Nestle commitment to make 100% of its packaging recyclable or reusable by 2025. If we look at the first step, which was on the paper material, Nestle packaging experts at the R&D Center in New York, in the UK, and also the Institute of Packaging Sciences, they worked closely with marketing and commercial strategy teams to ensure all innovation was consumer friendly. Supply chain, technical teams, and operations, procurement, they all helped in making sure that ideas became practical and an achievable reality. They worked closely with paper experts to responsibly source the material, because the main challenge, again, as I said, on the paper, we need durable material. We need resistant to humid material that can withstand different situations during the supply chain, being sealed properly, recyclable, and maintain the shelf life of the product as well. So there has been vigorous testing prototypes at the R&D Center. We exposed the packaging to different scenarios as if it were in real supply chain before launching the product. For example, during transportation, we did some pilots on how we pack the product on the shelves, how we put the product on the shelf, or while consumers are shopping, how they handle the product. We would also put the product on pallets. We send it to distribution centers and back again. Then we meticulously analyze thousands of packets for marks, defects, punctures, and this is to understand how the paper packaging would perform in the supply chain. If you look at the Hexatube multi-pack here, when we replace the plastic wrapper by the perforated paper, you can see also that we have added a functionality to the packaging. And making these changes or switching to plastic paper, we were able to not only eliminate plastic and replace it by paper, but also we added other values, not only reduction of plastic, not only a reduction of packaging, but also adding an additional function, which is something that we usually put in mind how to add value to our consumers. And I think Smarties was one of the key global brands that we first started with. We have also other initiatives on KitKat. We have other initiatives that was successfully implemented on Neswick, and more to come as well. Having that said, this was my last slide. I hope it was informative for you of what are the kind of efforts that we are doing in Nestle, although it was a bit short, but please free to reach out to me if you have any questions, comments, or insights. Thank you.
Hi, Hady. Thank you so much for your wonderful presentation. And it was really very interesting session. I'll ask the audience that if they're having any question, they can ask you in the chat or in the QA session. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And